Happy Easter! Welcome to Arty Crafty Alchemy. Today I'm going to be using my February Hedgehog hollow box to create an Easter card with my lovely lawn fawn products. I'm the Arty Crafty Alchemist. Let's create some Easter magic. So first of all, we want to stamp and die cut all our products. So the first thing I am using is the Sun Bunny stamp set that I got in my box. And I am using both of the bunnies with their arms outstretched. And a whole bunch of Easter eggs. So I've got this scrap I can do a little bit on. First I'm just going to put my bunnies on there. And pick them up. And an egg. Now we're going to fussy cut all of these. So let's see if this little egg will fit in there. Nope. There we go. Okay, so I've put my little egg in the middle. I'm stamping with Memento because I'm going to be colouring with Copics and Pro Markers today. Check that we got a good impression. Now, I'm just going to clean these with my stamp chamois. But then I'm just going to pick this Easter egg up with my finger. See, it's just on the end of my finger. And then I'm going to just tap it onto the ink and add it into any little gaps that I may have. Oops, I missed that one. That doesn't matter. So we need quite a lot of these. At least a dozen. I think I've gone for 13 for mine, so just keep stamping until you've got as many or more than you think you'll need so that you have some choice. Next I'm going to take my Happy Easter and just place it in the middle of this little scrap that I've got left. Okay, we have a nice impression there, so we don't need to stamp again. Then I am taking my Elizabeth Craft banner dies and I'm just going to take the straight one. I'll line up my die and use some thin post-it tape to hold it in place. I wish we could get the thicker stuff here, but it was hard enough to get that thin stuff. Don't know why we don't have it in Australia, but okay. So we're going to put this up aside. I've already cut out a whole bunch of these spring sprig. We'll put our bunnies aside. Okay, next we need to do some work on our other die cuts. So first of all, I'm going to show you how my first one went a bit off center. So I have these two circle dies that I've done together. And my first die cut was this one, which is a little off center. So then this is just some scrap practice paper. So then I've cut another one and I'm happier with that one. So then I kept these taped together like that so that I could continuously die cut. Now firstly, we want to cut, this is 300 GSM cardstock, but whatever cardstock you've got is fine. You can cut as few or as many layers as you want. I'm actually going to cut 4 or 5 of these and stack them together to give some height. Now we also want to cut a background colour, and I've chosen this colour as my background to stick my pieces to. And then we also need to die cut our spring sprigs. As you can see, I've already cut some from here, but they are also ready to die cut. And I'll be back as soon as I've got my die cuts ready. Okay, so when I die cut my spring sprigs, most of my cardstock was a decent weight, maybe up to 200 GSM maximum, which I think is about £90 for the US. So I've doubled everything up to make it faster, and I'm using 3 of each sprig, but you can use more or less depending on what you want. And I've got this container full of these here for some more projects, and I am just going to pop them into the container. So there we go, there's our spring sprig, and I've pulled everything out. Now, the very next thing that you want to do is actually take all your sprigs. I'm using 3 of each of 6 colours, and I'm just going to use some two-way glue on the back of it. So either your Zig two-way glue or your Tombow two-way glue, whichever one you have, or if you have a Aleene's tacky glue, I think might work. And then just set all of them aside to dry, because having that repositionable glue on it is actually going to help us position things to glue down properly later. So I have my cream ring. We have all these parts that we can use for other projects. I have 4 stacked circles and my Happy Easter. Now, next up, we are going to want to colour our pieces. So I have a whole bunch here. Some were already stamped, some you saw me stamp. And I have extra bunnies in case I make a mess. And I meant to actually flip this paper over so that I was stamping on the clean side, but I forgot. So this one has a mark in front of its head, over its head, so it's lucky I do have another piece. For my bunnies, I have used the warm Copics. I have W5, W3, W1, 00 and W00. First up, I'm going to lay down a base of the 00. I don't mind getting it in the ears at the moment. The other colour covers it quite nicely, and it actually knocks out a little bit of the brightness from the ear colours. So then I'm going to take my darkest, which is W5, and I'm going to add in a little flick the base of the ears, maybe a little more on that side because it's more in shadow, and then I'm going to add the teeniest layer around the outside with a little more shadow on the bottom, especially around the nose, and then a little bit of shadow under there and on the bottom of his arm and under his arm. Same on this side, around his arm, and a little under his neck. We'll blend that mistake I made out. Oh, and a little bit just at the base of his feet. Then we go back with the W3 and add a little bit more in, drag it down a tiny bit, drag it a bit more up from the bottom. I'm not the best Copic colourer. I've had them for a while, but I stopped crafting for a fair while, so I'm just getting back into the swing of it now. I'm just blending that out and doing a little bit of that one at the base, and then going over that little bit there. Now I want his tail to be quite light, so I'm not using any of these dark colours in there. Next I am choosing W1, and we're just going to flick in a little bit more highlight into his ears and pull the colour down and up around his little face. Now on the Nina, I'm finding that going over everything with the lighter colours as you work up really helps blend it out, because I am really struggling with the Nina. I'm not used to using it. Yeah, it's a bit of a learning curve for me. So now we're going to the W0, and we're just going to leave a tiny little bit of highlight at the top there and a tiny little bit of uncovered section in the middle of his face, but we're going to pull everything down and blend it all around. And it doesn't matter if it bleeds out a little, because everything's going to be fussy cut out. I don't own the dies, so okay, now we go back in with 000, and just I'm starting from the middle and working my way around to really get those shadows blended out. And I'm just going to add a little bit more shadow in under his neck, because I feel like that's going to be really the darkest spot, and pull it down a little. And then we do the same for the other rabbit. For his ears I am using RV10 and RV21. So I can't remember which is the lighter. Yep, okay. RV10 is the lighter, so I'm just going to fill the whole lot of his ears in with the RV10. Then I'm going to flick in some R21, blend it back out again and put him aside to dry. Okay, for the eggs, I have these colours of sprigs that I've cut. So I have tried to choose some colours that are very close to those colours. I've got Orchid and V15. I'm just going to lay a base of V15. Add in some shadow and blend it out very quickly. Then I'm going to take BG15 and BG13. Lay in a base of the BG13, which actually looks really dark when you put it down, but it dries a lot lighter. And then I'm going to just flick in some BG15 and blend in the middle and set that aside to dry. Now on my blog, I will give you all the pairs of colours that I have used, so you can see I've only used 2 for each one because it gets a bit complicated when you use more than that. Now we need to fussy cut the images we coloured in. We'll throw them on the floor. Okay, I have my rabbit, and as you can see here, I bled out a little bit, but it's not going to be too big of an issue because we are fussy cutting. I keep telling you all, I hate fussy cutting. I really wish I had the dies. Anytime I can afford to get a stamp and die set, I will, because this is painful to me. At least the lawn fawn images don't seem to be too complicated, so if you have to fussy cut them, you can. You're going to need to stamp a bunch of stuff and go to my friend's house. She has a stamp and cut, so that would make life a lot easier. I'm probably going off frame because I don't have my glasses on and I'm trying to keep it close to my head. As always, try and move the scissors, not the die cut. Don't know why that works better, but it does. I got some itty bitty scissors from Kmart to try. These hurt my fingers to use them, which is another reason I don't like to do a lot of fussy cutting. They always hurt my fingers. The ones I showed in a haul, I think, the other day. And they have handles, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm not sure that they're going to last very long. They were 75 cents, so we'll give them a try and see what we think. They're on clearance. Not that the scissors there are very expensive to start with. They're probably like $1 markdown. Okay, we have our bunny, and let's get this egg. So we've just got 2 bunnies to cut out and a whole bunch of eggs. Not a whole lot of time taken to fussy cut. Of course, if you have the dies, use the dies. It's a lot quicker, I think, than having to cut everything individually. Okay, so we have our bunny and our egg, and we also have a bunch that I actually cut earlier. Now, on the back of all my eggs, I have also stuck some glue, and I'm just going to do that one as well because I don't know how many I need, so the more the merrier. And some colours I remember I'm not very happy with, so that way you can pick and choose what you like, what you don't like. So I think I like that new bunny better, so I'm going to go with that bunny and this bunny that I'd already done. And we have all our eggs, we have all our sprigs. Now it's time to cut our base piece. On a quick note, some of these actually have a letter on the back of them. This one is a Y. This one is a Y, which means I wanted to put it on the yellow sprigs. Some of them are random, but I had a colour idea of where I wanted my colours to go. So I'm actually going to have to look for the ones that have colours on the back, because they actually will help me remember where I need to put certain colours. And I'll explain more of that while we're doing the eggs. Okay, I have my card base and I have this piece of lawn fawn paper. I'm going to go with the crosshatch side because I really like that, and my card is 4 1/4, so I'm going to go 4 inches, and my card is also 5 3/4, so I'm going to go 5 1/2. I'm just going to check that my base is the right size. So we have our matting layer. Then we have these layers that need to be stuck together. We have our Happy Easter. Something else I will also be using is I got the sparkle twine in silver. So pretty. And I have already tied a bow just because it takes me a long time to get them how they like them, and I don't think anybody wants to watch that. and I have cut a length of the twine. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to wrap it around the bottom or not yet. We will see how things go. If I don't like the way it looks, it's coming off. But it's there just in case I want to use it. Okay, I'm going to stick my layers together using the Lawn Fundamentals glue tube. I want to see how this holds up. I find that the zig is alright for papery things. This is a bit shiny, so this cardstock. I find that the zig is alright for paper and things, but they can sometimes be lifted off easily, so I don't want that to happen with these rings. So I'm just going to press around them to make sure they're lined up and then press down, and I'll glue all the rings on and I'll be right back. My circle is done. It's not dry yet, but it will be, and hopefully it sticks really well. Don't worry if you get any marks on here. This is actually from me trying out where I wanted to position my pieces. Now, my rings are approximately 9 centimeters or just over 3.5 inches for the outside, and 3 3/4 on the inside, or 7 centimeters. Okay, so what I did was I just picked a place to start. This is why the repositionable glue, because I like to move things around to decide where it's going to go. And I would stick down my first colour, and then I would go around and stick my next colour under, and I worked out roughly that it has to be around the 3rd sprig line for this size die to make them all look nice and even around. But it depends on your circles where you would need to measure it. That's why I put the repositionable glue on, to make it easier for me to decide which colour went where. So what I did was I actually wrote on my eggs. Some of the eggs have a colour on them. That's what the writing is. They have a colour on them, which is their colour, and then it tells me that this one, for example, is both purples, which I'm not really happy with that. But that tells me that it had aqua, then light purple and dark purple on differing sides. But that's probably going to get thrown out the window because I should have written myself better instructions. Rather than lifting up, I have decided to now just stick them from the top. Now this is not meant to hold them in place permanently. This is just for you to get them in place. Now I'm pretty happy with that bottom layer, so what I'm going to do is take my two-way glue and just work out where there's going to be a little bit of a big piece of the sprig, which there's one right there, and further down here I'll take another piece, another little dab of glue, and glue that down. And I don't want to glue all of it down, I just want to glue those 2 spots, and I will come back when they are all glued. Okay, now that our bottom layer is stuck down, I've stuck everyone in those 2 spots, one at the base, one at the top. I don't want to stick everything down, I want these little bits to be able to stick up and float around to fill in our gaps. I am going to, again, just tack these on. Now this piece has a little nick out of it, so I am putting this one from the middle inwards because we will cover that up, and I'm not going as far down as the first one was, so I'll put this one probably about here, and then I'll work it so that it's not too far down, and then I'll grab the other colour and again overlap that a little bit and put that there. Then I'm going to do that all the way around, but this time I'm actually going to stick them as I go. So once I've done that, I'll be back to show you how it looks. Okay, so here we have our final piece, and what I've decided to do for this layer is actually, these layers is just glue this bottom section. Now for the outside piece, I've pulled it back a little bit, and for this inside piece, I'm letting it sit forward a little bit. There we have our pretty wreath, all different colours. I'm just going to give that a minute to dry. While that is happening, I am actually just going to use double-sided tape on this part, purely because we have dimension and weight with that top piece, so I don't want to make the paper buckle under the pressure. Now I always hold the corners, the opposite corners, and line up my card that way. I get a straighter straighter edge. It was something one of my craft teachers actually taught me. Now when you think that that is dry enough, you can flip it over, and again I'm going to use the Lawn Fundamentals glue, and I'm just going to do some around the edges. I have my Easter banner there. This will help me work out where I can place this. I might actually grab my tweezers because it's quite sticky. And then press down firmly and set it aside to dry. Now if you're unhappy with anywhere that you can see too much yellow through, you can try and move your pieces around a little bit to cover it, or just if you've got extra die cuts, or you can cut extra die cuts, you can grab an extra one to fill in if you think it's too bare in there. Add in another one just to cover up some of that yellow colour underneath a bit more. Or you can add as many as you like. Now I'm not using the flowers on this card, you'll notice. That's why we have so many Easter eggs. Our little bunnies are going to be raised up in the centre and have an itty bitty Easter egg between their hands, and our banner will be at the bottom. First of all, let's work out where we want some Easter egg. I'm just going to tuck them behind. I'm not happy with that one, I don't want to use it. And I'll come back when I've got all my eggs lined up where I want them. Next I'm taking some clear cool tack, and I am going to add it to the back of some of my things. I'm just going to add a piece to the back of the egg, and I've got both my bunnies that need some. I'm going to cut a piece in half for their ears. Sorry, that's my cat you can hear in the background. She's terrible for grinding her teeth. Drives me nuts. I'm using my Tim Holtz scissors because they're non-stick. So I'm just going to continue adding itty bits of tape to the bits that are going to stick out. I'm going to cut off another tiny little piece for his little arm. And then I'll just use some regular foam tape to prop up the rest of his body. Moving around in the background, determined to be irritating today. Our wreath is glued in place, and we can work out where we want our bunnies. I'm actually going to stick the egg down first, and then we can slide the bunny paws in underneath it. So remove our tape from our bunnies. Okay, so I'm just going to stick his little paw, or her little paw, under there, stick down our bunny, and do the same with the next one. So again, I'm just going to position him under there, and there we have our sun bunnies. And then I'm just going to add a piece of foam tape to the back of our sentiment. Cut a piece and then cut it in half. So now we have our regular foam tape on the back of our sentiment, and I have my Happy Easter, and so I'm just going to carefully peel this up. I should have done this before I stuck it down, but let's see if we actually want some string under there. I might actually see if I can put some strips down the side just to hold this in place. So we'll peel them off. How to work around it when you make an epic mistake. Okay, so I'm just going to diagonally adhere those ones, wrap around and wrap around again, overlapping those two, and then doing another one in the middle. Now, before we stick anything down, Let's just see if we like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. I'm actually going to hide the ends. I don't want the ends to be visible, so I'm just going to trim them off. I was going to tie them in a bow, but I think that's going to be too bulky and look a bit weird, so I am just going to cut these ends off, adhere them to the tape, so there we have everything adhered back down, if we can get it to adhere. So I'm just going to add another small piece of tape to get that to stick down. Pull off the back and press everything down, and then my Easter sentiment will go in the middle there. I might actually, it's going to nestle those up there a little bit to make it not as bulky. There we go. And then we just have to glue this on. I'm going to try the Lawn Fawn glue because I've not used it for this, so let's see what it can do. Just putting a small amount on the back of my bow. I'm going to pick my bow up with some tweezers and place the bow where I'd like it to be. So we'll just trim. Be careful you don't cut the layers underneath. So that's what it looks like now. But I am going to add some bling, of course. Today I've got the black again, but I also have some pretty AB. I'm going to add some of these tiny 2 or 3 millimeter bling. Then there's this size, and we have the giant. But I'm going to go with these tiny ones and place them in the eyes. Make their eyes pop a little. Of course, rather than using bling, you could probably use your drops, but I just don't have very good history with those drops. They tend to make my cards stick to everything. So I'm going to take the AB this time. So the AB means they've got a special coating on them, which means they go all different colours. They're not just clear, which is really pretty. So I've got my first one. So now we have 4 of the AB and 8 rhinestones altogether. We need to get an odd number, so I'm just going to take some of the bling and add 4 pieces to this banner. And there we have our finished Easter card. Now, if you wanted to, you could take some Wink of Stella to your eggs before you stuck them down, or something shimmery. But I didn't think of that before I did this card, so. But I quite like it the way it is. Our bow seems to be nicely stuck down with the Lawn Fawn glue, so that's good. And there we have a finished Easter card. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.